Hi, haven't done one of these in a little while, basically because I've got not much to say. But I thought today was a good day to do one of these, because looking at my clock and calendar on my PC, it's the 7th of April today, and that's a very important day now for me, because on this day last year was when I got my stem cell transplant. So happy rebirthday to me. That's what I say, and maybe I'm making a bit of a fuss about it, but yeah, why not make a bit of fun of it? Yeah, so a year on, so obviously that was the last time I had chemotherapy. It was I had the stem cells, and since then my only hospital appointments have been spaced out. They've been few and far between. Generally once every 3 months I go up to the hospital, but I have more, how can I put it, they're still irregular. They're not exactly great frequency by any means. I have phone appointments. So yeah, I had one on Wednesday, which was with a neurologist. So somebody trying to make sure A, I have a brain, and B, it's working. And they were happy enough with what we discussed that they've said I'm no longer under the neurologist. But obviously, should anything happen again in future, I'm now a known entity, so then I'll be referred back to them by either my GP or by obviously the haematologists that I'm under as well. So, but hopefully that's not it. So what is with my brain now? So let's see. My brain works fine. I wouldn't say it's 100% how it was before all this, because I do think there's minor scarring at the back of the brain where as I always say, if I'm getting these facts wrong, it's this is just the layman's understanding of it. The lymphocytes that were infected and putting the pressure on my brain and my spine had caused some scarring. So yeah, with that scarring, I think there's, you got to look at it from a fact of, if you get a scar anywhere on your body, especially on your hands or something like that, it never quite feels how it was, because you've damaged nerve endings and stuff like that. You might be a bit more sensitive, it might itch a bit more, all that sort of stuff. So way I look at it is, the potential is that with the scarring on the brain, that maybe there is a slight lack, is that the word? This is what I mean. A slight case can be made for there being certain things that maybe don't work as well as they did. Maybe there's a little bit of damage. I don't know. What I would say with that is, it's the main thing is it's memory related, but it's not about remembering things like what happened to me here, or where did I go then, and who's that person there, and this, that and the other. So in one of my early videos, probably my first one, I said I was swapping words out. I'd forget a word, and then my brain would go, try this word, and it would be completely the wrong word. It's just like when I nearly asked the doctor for a hysterectomy, Yeah, that wouldn't have gone down too well. But yeah, it's with me. I do sometimes struggle with words still. So I'll want to say a word and just can't for the life of me remember it. I know it, it's on the tip of my tongue. It no longer throws out the random words to replace it, but sometimes I'm trying to say something, can't remember the word, and I'll have to come up with an alternate thing to say, to circumvent my lack of that word being in my brain for that moment in time. So yeah, so otherwise it's not a big deal. It just makes me pause, think, try to gather this word from the ether and throw it at it. But otherwise everything's fine. Still suffering a bit from there we go, words gone again. No, gone. Tiredness. See, we'll just throw another word in there. Fatigue was the word I was looking for. How much of that is to do with the stem cell transplant still, because that was obviously causing a lot of fatigue, but they did say that you can take a longer while to get over the fatigue because of how big a deal having a stem cell transplant is. You essentially completely resetting your system, hence as I've mentioned before, I mean, I'm due this month to start doing my childhood vaccinations again, so that's all going to depend on when the GP contacts me. Well, it'll be done through a nurse rather than a GP, but my GP surgery, let's say that. So yeah, so as I said, it's a big jolt to your system. You've essentially had your bone marrow destroyed, and then you put these stem cells in, which then rebuild it all. And yeah, the science is beyond me, but as I say, I think that's my layman's term of understanding of it. So yeah, so I was still tired, so I'm getting up, going out, doing a bit more. Went for a nice, what was it, 3-mile hike last weekend, I think it was, and I'm probably going to do it again tomorrow, which was a bit too much for my system, but it's time to push myself. But apart from the fatigue, it's, my legs need to get active again, because they've not been used. I used to, most of my jobs I would spend on my feet all day. Now I struggle with that because my legs ache and my lower back, because I've always had a problem for donkey's years now with my lower back, with the muscle getting caught under the pelvis and chunk, and it's hella painful. That's starting to slip as well, because I'm standing on my feet all day and walking along and this, that and the other. But the only way I'm going to get my body used to it is by doing it. Maybe going 3 miles to start off with is a bit far, but I managed it, I survived it, and I do need to shift some weight. I've put on some significant weight recently. Part of that is down to the chemo, once again messing with your system. They do say with chemotherapy, obviously what most people feel is you lose weight during chemo or during cancer and stuff like that. But I did. But the flip side is, the after effect is you potentially can put on significant amounts of weight quite quickly. I mean, it's not the sum total of it. Part of it is to do with me lazing around doing nothing most of the time. Doesn't help. My diet isn't great. I don't eat a lot, to be honest with you. But my diet isn't great, and the lack of exercise. I've got a bit of a belly going on here, and I think you can see a bit in my face as well and stuff like that. But yeah, a bit more exercise and getting myself back out there, and hopefully I'll start to shed some of that again. I think you can see in this video the hair is, I've got a significant amount of hair, but you can also see with the beard and the sideburns, it's pretty much white now. I mean, I already had white in the beard for the past few years, but I think that it's kind of gone to the point where during the chemo it's gone. Yeah, we're done with giving you colour in your beard and your sideburns. You're going to have white ones. But my hair, it's still its natural colour. A little bit wild. It's getting more controllable now. After it started growing back after the chemo, it's natural for your hair to get quite curly, and it became quite uncontrollable. Hence the reason hats became a thing. So hopefully I'll have my long luscious locks back, within the next year or so, as long as it all goes well. 52-year-old man with a full head of hair, even if it is ginger, it's good to be that sort of age and still have all your hair there. So is there anything else? I don't think so, really. I think we'll call it. I'm completely off medications. Should point that out. I stopped taking my last medication I was taking was for seizures, anti-seizure medication, and we weaned off that gradually towards the end of last year, and I think it was December completely came off of it. So I've been off of that since December and had no issues. According to the neurologist I was talking to the other day, I've probably got another month or two before I will be allowed to drive, or in my case ride my motorbike, because you have to wait 6 months, I believe, after coming off of anti-seizure medication, and you haven't had any reoccurrences of the issue. So yeah, I've got about a month or two before I can start going back on the motorbike again, although I've got to be able to afford to fix it and get it going again and insure it. And then old what's his face, Khan, and his extension of the ULEZ zone into an area that's 50% built up area and 50% countryside and farms and God knows what else. So why the hell he feels the need to stretch it out to an area like this, which used to be part of Kent, it's only in the I'm going to give you the history lesson, but in the 60s this area I live went from Kent to Greater London. So it's not like South East London, it's not like South London, it's not like Central London. We got traffic, yes, but not to the same degree you got in town. And I said, that's why the farmers have all gone on I suppose, I don't know if you call it a march when they're driving tractors, but it's like, why are farmers getting penalised? It makes no sense. We're currently under a situation of cost of living crisis. So what's he do? He wants us who live around here, if you haven't got a vehicle that comes, it qualifies, to pay £12 a day. If you're working and £12 a day, 60 quid a week, that's £240 a month. And if you're on minimum wage, that's ridiculous, and you can't afford a new vehicle. although there is ways around it with getting certificates of dispensation or whatever they're called, but you've got to pay for that as well. So yes, the situation's a bit of a joke, but yeah, we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss my health. So it just kind of crossed over into that and allowed me to go off on a rant. But anyway, I was prescribed vitamin D back in the day, so I do still take it now. It's not prescribed anymore, but as a ginger, we don't go out in the sun a lot, so yeah, I think taking vitamin D isn't going to hurt. It's only going to benefit me in the long run. So yeah, so this probably is going to be the last update, I would have thought. I don't see what much else I can do short of if everything goes tits up, but hopefully that won't happen. So hopefully I'll get back to doing a few more gaming videos. Maybe do a few more waffling ones about other subjects like games or music or something like that. I don't know yet. I really haven't thought this through, and as I say, don't have a lot of followers on this channel, so and it's very bare bones and cheap. But I don't do any editing, so. But who knows? Who knows what the future holds for this fat 52-year-old former cancer patient? Well, let's find out, shall we? Have a great one.